I run a paranormal blog. I know how it sounds, but I didn't start it because I believed in ghosts or demons. I started it after my ex-husband died because I needed somewhere to put all the thoughts in my head. Most of the time, I investigate stories and prove they aren't real. Strange noises, usually pipes, haunted houses, usually animals. But then people started messaging me about Lucent Lake. They told me 4 people had died there in 3 weeks. The rumors sounded ridiculous at first. People talked about an invisible killer hiding in the woods. No footprints, no weapon, no suspect. The police kept saying it was probably an animal, but nobody believed that. The families of the victims knew something was wrong. Lucent Lake itself looked harmless. Picnic tables, hiking trails, old docks, and couples taking photos. A normal place. Until I arrived. I reached Lucent Lake after dark. Yes, I know that was stupid. But I couldn't wait another day. I told myself I was there for my blog, for answers. The road was empty, and every shadow in my headlights looked like someone standing between the trees. A few miles from the lake, I found a barricade. 2 people wearing ranger uniforms stood beside it. One of them walked toward my car. The older ranger looked annoyed before I even opened my window. Roads closed, I noticed. Then turn around, I just wanted to look around. His expression didn't change. No, the younger ranger walked over. She looked exhausted, like she had been dealing with scared people 4 days. Then she looked at me. Wait, you'll leave from grave doubts. I smiled. The older ranger sighed. Great. Another internet detective. The woman ranger lowered her flashlight. People are dead, she said. We don't know what did it. Animal attack, she hesitated. That's what they're saying, but you don't believe it. Neither ranger answered. Then she asked, aren't you scared? The honest answer was yes. But fear doesn't always make you run. Sometimes it makes you want answers even more. I turned my car around and pretended I was leaving. Then I parked half a mile away and entered the woods. I had my phone, camera, flashlight, pepper spray, and a small cloth pouch in my pocket. That pouch was the real reason I came, because Lucent Lake wasn't just a random investigation. I had been there before, years ago, with Daniel, my husband. Daniel is dead now. People always look at me differently when I say that. Like they expect sadness, but the first thing I felt when he died wasn't grief. It was relief. I won't tell you every horrible thing he did. People always want details, like they need proof before they believe someone suffered, but my kids knew the sound of his car. The moment he came home, the whole house changed. Everyone stopped breathing. Leaving him didn't fix everything. People love saying, at least you escaped. But people like Daniel don't respect boundaries. He called. He showed up. He found excuses to stay in our lives. I spent years feeling watched. Every car passing the house, every unknown number, every knock on the door, I was tired. I wanted him gone forever. A friend introduced me to a strange woman who claimed she could help. She lived above a dentist's office. She made terrible tea and said things that sounded impossible. She listened to my story and finally said, "You don't need revenge, you need closure." I told her I didn't care what it was called. I just wanted Daniel out of my life. She gave me a small pouch filled with white powder and some words I had to say. I thought it was nonsense. A week later, Daniel died. His car crashed during a storm. They identified him by his teeth. I spent a year telling myself it was coincidence. Maybe it was, but now Lucent Lake was calling me back. I walked through the forest slowly. The trees were silent, too silent. Then I heard something. My name, leave. I stopped. My blood went cold, because I knew that voice. It was impossible, but I knew it. Daniel, leave. The voice came again. I grabbed the pouch in my pocket. I didn't answer. I didn't move, because some part of me already understood. Whatever was in those woods, it wasn't trying to scare me. It was trying to get my attention. Then someone grabbed my arm. I nearly screamed. I turned around. It was the older ranger. "Are you serious?" he whispered. "You followed me. You ignored a roadblock." I was leaving. He looked at the direction I was facing. The lake was ahead. "You're walking deeper inside." I didn't have an answer. He grabbed his radio. "Found her. South Trail." Then he looked at me. "This isn't a game." "I know." "No, you don't." He was right. People were dead, but I knew something he didn't. I knew what kind of thing could come back. I had already seen it once. The ranger suddenly stopped talking. His expression changed. Not fear, confusion. He looked down. A red line appeared across his jacket. Then another. His coat opened. Blood started pouring out. I froze. There was nothing there. No person. No weapon. Nothing. Just an invisible force cutting through him. He fell to the ground. His flashlight rolled into the leaves. I wanted to help him. I really did. But then I heard Daniel's voice again. Coming from the direction of the lake. "Leave." The same calm voice. The same tone he used when he knew I was afraid. And somehow, I knew I had to follow. I ran toward the lake. I know how insane that sounds. But Daniel was always like this. He would hurt someone, and somehow make it my responsibility. The forest opened, and there it was. Lucent Lake, dark water. Broken dock. And someone standing at the edge. Daniel, at first glance, he looked normal. But something was wrong. His clothes were soaked. His skin looked strange. His head tilted slightly, like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. Then he smiled. That same smile, the one that always meant something bad was about to happen. My hand tightened around the pouch. He stepped closer. "Stay there," I said. He ignored me. Of course he did. "You're not real." He smiled wider. "You know better than that." My hands started shaking. I thought about my kids, their lives after him. How they still apologize too much. How they still watch doors. Daniel kept walking. "Why are you here?" I whispered. He stopped. Then he answered. Not with anger. Not with hate. Almost gently. "Because you never finished what you started." I opened the pouch. And prepared to find out if this was really closure, or something much worse. I untied the pouch with my teeth, because my hands were shaking too badly. Daniel watched me. For the first time, his smile disappeared. That scared me more than anything else, because Daniel was never afraid of anything. Not people, not consequences, not me. But whatever was standing in front of me, it didn't like that pouch. He stopped walking. "Leave." The way he said my name almost sounded human. Almost. "You don't want to do this." I laughed, a nervous, broken laugh. "You don't get to tell me what I want anymore." 4 years. Daniel controlled every part of my life. My choices, my home, my thoughts, but not anymore. He stepped closer again. The lake water moved around his feet. "You think I'm the monster." I felt anger rise inside me. Not fear. Anger. "You hurt everyone around you. You destroyed my family. You made my kids afraid of their own home." His expression changed. Like I had said something that actually hurt him. Then he whispered, "I didn't come back to hurt you." I almost laughed. That's exactly what you would say. The wind moved through the trees. Everything became silent, to silent. Then Daniel looked behind me. And smiled, not at me. At something else. I turned around quickly. Nothing, only trees, only darkness. When I looked back, Daniel was closer. Much closer. I stepped away. "How did you do that?" He tilted his head. "Do what?" "You were over there." He smiled. "I was never only there." My stomach dropped, because suddenly I understood. The 4 people who died. The missing hikers. The invisible attacks. It wasn't a person. It wasn't an animal. It was something that could move, something that could wait, something that could choose when to appear. and it chose me. Daniel reached out his hand, not to grab me, just offering it. Like we were standing in our old house. Like nothing happened. Come home, leave. Those words hit harder than anything else. Because once, I wanted that. I wanted a normal family. A normal life. A husband who loved me. But Daniel didn't want a family. He wanted control. I remembered my kids hiding upstairs. I remembered Donnie whispering, "Is Dad angry?" I remembered Ben asking, "Can we leave?" And I knew. I didn't survive him just to lose now. I threw the powder. It hit his face. For a second. Nothing happened. My heart sank. I thought I had been fooled. Then Daniel screamed, not like a person. Like something pretending to be one. His body started changing. Not dying, changing. His arms twisted. His face stretched. His skin moved like it wasn't attached properly. The man I knew disappeared. And underneath, there was something else. Something that had been wearing Daniel. I stepped back. The thing looked at me with Daniel's eyes. That was the worst part, not the claws. Not the impossible shape, the eyes. Because they still looked familiar. "You never understood me," it said. But the voice wasn't Daniel anymore. I wanted to run. Every instinct told me to run, but I stayed. Because I finally understood something. The woman who gave me the pouch wasn't trying to kill Daniel. She wasn't trying to punish him. She was trying to separate him from whatever came back. The creature moved toward me. The ground shook. The lake water started moving without wind. I repeated the words she taught me ... again and again. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. The creature screamed. The sound was unbearable. It sounded like hundreds of voices at once. Some were angry. Some were scared. Some sounded like people who had died there. I covered my ears, but I kept speaking. Then the creature collapsed, not falling, folding. Like something invisible was crushing it from the inside. Daniel's face appeared one last time. For a moment, he looked normal, almost peaceful. "Leave," I froze, because this time, it sounded like the real Daniel. Not the monster. Not the thing pretending. Just him. "I'm sorry." 2 words I never expected to hear. 2 words that came years too late. Then everything disappeared. No scream. No wind. No movement. Just silence. The lake became still. The forest became normal. And for the first time in years, I felt nothing watching me. I stood there for several minutes. Not celebrating. Not crying. Just standing. Because after living with fear for so long, peace felt strange, almost wrong. Then I heard footsteps, someone coming through the trees. It was the woman ranger. She had her gun raised. Her eyes went straight to me ... then to the lake. "Where is Tom?" I didn't answer, not because I didn't want to. Because I didn't know how. "I'm sorry," I finally said. Her face changed. What happened? I looked at the lake, the black water, the broken dock, and the place where Daniel disappeared. Then I said, "The thing that killed those people. It's gone." The ranger stared at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was. After everything that happened, I wouldn't blame anyone for thinking that. "People are dead," she said. "I know. Tom is dead." I looked down. The truth was heavy. "I know." She lowered her weapon slightly. "What happened here?" "Leave." I wanted to tell her everything. But how do you explain something you barely understand yourself? I told her about the voice, about Daniel, about the thing in the woods. She didn't interrupt me. She didn't laugh. She just listened. When I finished, she looked toward the lake. Then she whispered, "My brother disappeared here 10 years ago." I looked at her. "What?" She swallowed. "The police said he drowned, but there was no body," she continued. "No evidence, just a missing person report." Her hands started shaking. Everyone told my family to accept it. But I always felt like something was wrong. She looked at the water. Maybe now I know why. We left Lucent Lake together. Neither of us talked much. The forest felt different, not peaceful, empty. Like something had been removed. When we reached my car, I looked back one last time. I expected to see Daniel. Or that creature, anything. But there was nothing. The drive home was quiet, too quiet. I kept checking the mirror every few minutes. I don't know what I expected. A shadow, a figure. Daniel sitting in the back seat. But the road stayed empty, for the first time in years. I was alone, really alone. When I got home, my kids were sleeping at my sister's place. I walked inside. The house felt strange. Not scary, just different, like I was seeing it for the first time. No footsteps outside. No waiting for a car. No fear of someone coming back. I took a shower, changed clothes, and sat in silence. That's when I realized something. I didn't know what to do with peace. I had spent so many years fighting, running, surviving. That normal life felt unfamiliar. I opened my laptop. I looked at my blog. Hundreds of messages waited. People asking about Lucent Lake. People wanting answers. I stared at the empty page. Then I started typing. Not as an investigator, not as a skeptic. As someone who survived, I wrote, some things are real, not because people believe in them, but because sometimes we experience things that cannot be explained. I almost deleted it, because it sounded like something I would have mocked before. But I posted it anyway. For a few hours, nothing happened. Then comments started appearing. People shared their own stories. Strange voices, missing time. Things they couldn't explain. Most were probably fake. But one comment caught my attention. It was from someone who lived near Lucent Lake. They wrote, "My grandfather told me about that place. He said the lake wasn't haunted. He said something was trapped there." I stared at the screen. Then another comment appeared. "You didn't destroy it. You only moved it." I froze. My fingers stopped moving. The account had no profile picture, no posts, no history, nothing. I refreshed the page. The comment was gone. I told myself it was just a troll. That's what I wanted to believe. But then I heard something. A noise from outside. A scraping sound, slow. Like something dragging across my front door. I stood up. My whole body went tense, because I knew that sound. Not from Lucent Lake, from my old life. Daniel used to scratch his keys against the door when he wanted me to know he was outside. A warning, a reminder. I walked toward the window, slowly. I didn't turn on the lights. I looked outside. The street was empty. No cars, no people. Nothing. Then I saw it, the front door. There were scratches on it, fresh scratches. But they weren't on the outside. They were on the inside. My stomach dropped. Because that meant one thing. Whatever did this was already inside. I grabbed my phone. My hand shook as I called my sister. She answered immediately. "Leave." I stayed quiet. "Leave. Are you okay?" I whispered. "Keep the kids there." A pause. "Why?" I didn't answer, because I heard something. A voice, coming from the hallway, quiet, familiar. "Leave." My blood turned cold, because it wasn't Daniel. It wasn't the creature. It sounded like me. I stepped backward. The voice came again. "Leave." This time louder, like someone was standing right behind me. I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't move. Because the worst part wasn't hearing my own voice. The worst part was what it said next. It whispered, "I know what you did." The lights went out, and somewhere in the darkness, something smiled.